friends. I have my friend Lisa here, and today we're going to talk about approaching people with the right words to say and how to open up conversations with people. Lisa and I met because she is just wrapping up our customer first sales mastermind. So you want to tell us a little bit about like where you're from, what kind of products you use, why do you like your business?
I am actually from Sweetwater, Texas, and I currently live in Tempe. I'm moving tomorrow morning back to Sweetwater, Texas. Yes.
Tomorrow
So
morning.
I do Mary Kay. That's my business. And
What do you like about your business the most?
I love meeting people.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that. So, what's hard for you right now? What would you like to cover in this coaching call?
What's hard for me is getting that initial conversation going. Basically, it's the networking, the making the connection with people that need the product. Does that make sense?
How do you know they need the product if you just met them?
Most often it's because I can sense some people, I feel like you can tell that they have like skin issues that maybe concern them. And I know our product works so well that I know it would help them. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you know, but they haven't articulated a need.
Right. They haven't articulated a need, but so I don't want to just jump out and say, hey, I noticed you've got blemishes on your face. I've got a product that would solve that problem for you without saying, hey,
Yeah.
I
Well,
know, because I don't want to make somebody feel self-conscious, because that would just like, oh my God, is it really that noticeable?
oh yeah. Well, if just so you feel better about your own thought process, our friends in the weight loss industry feel the same way.
Exactly.
And I think it's really tricky because the whole, I think a lot of what people are taught, and I don't disagree with this, but it's like find a need and then offer a solution. Well, you found a need, but it's a very personal need.
Exactly. And
And
not everybody feels self-conscious about their skin
well, and
or
even if
about
I
the
did, I wouldn't feel good about that interaction, right? I'd be like, you noticed that? I'm never talking to you again.
right,
So
right.
I think that that is something that is really, really challenging for sure. Now, where do you meet new people currently in your business?
Right now I've been meeting on Facebook, social media. So that's where the big part of them, but I also meet them when I go out to the store. Sometimes I'll see someone and say, hey, have you ever tried Mary Kay? If I see that they take care of their skin and they have pretty makeup or whatever, I just ask them. And sometimes they answer and I give them my card, and then I never hear from them again. And I'm like, what did I do wrong?
Sure. Okay. So here's what I think is the answer to that. The what
Okay.
you do wrong is you're leading with products and
Okay.
and you're smushing the networking and inviting situation.
Right. Right.
So I think what we need um we need to break up the stages a little bit easier for you so okay, am I just meeting people, or am I inviting people, or am I trying to make sales? Those are three different parts of the process.
Okay.
So let's say I'm meeting someone out in the world. Let's say I'm at some place where I'm meeting network marketers, right? Like I'm a network marketing coach. So I would say, yeah, it's Tasha. It's nice to meet you. And I'd see if they'd strike up a conversation. And then I would take a little bit more control and say, it was so nice to meet with you. Would you like to connect on social media?
Okay.
Right? It's taking a little bit more control of that versus like, here's my card. Most, you'll be surprised at how many business owners don't even have cards. I don't even have cards.
Right.
Because a card is like, here, you call me, which is putting the it's putting it on them as opposed to putting it on me for follow-up.
And see, I've thought about that too, because we have like survey like slips that you get people to fill out that has all their information on it.
You don't need a
And
survey slip if you're out in the world. You just need to
right,
say,
right.
can we connect on Facebook?
Okay.
Right? Like
Right, right,
that, a survey slip is so formal.
right. And I feel like it's kind of intrusive because some people don't want to give you their phone number and all of that.
Well, I don't
So
care about that one bit. People will say, how do you get everyone's phone number, Tasha? And I'm like, here's my magic line. Can I have your phone number? Like, we need to dump that. Well, am I being intrusive or not? It is our job to communicate and their job to decide. But we also want to consider what is kind and what is, right, like appropriate for the relationship. So why would you ask for someone's phone number? That would make sense in certain situations, but not in others,
right,
based on the conversation that you're having. So you have to use your judgment there, because it's not really about being intrusive or not being intrusive. And I think that is a huge thinking flaw that a lot of network marketers have. It's like, am I bothering them? Like, that's just the wrong question. Because no matter what you say, you would never know. You're not in control of whether or not you're bothering someone. And I mean, that's a terrible way to live your life and ask yourself, like, all day, am I, like, that's just bad juju. Instead, it's, if I'm reaching out to this person, is this helpful? Is this encouraging? Right? And if we go with that objective, that's different. So like, it completely changes the interaction. And so if we're out there in the world meeting people or on Facebook, a couple of things that are just like normal humaning skills in your building a relationship, compliment them, be nice, make small talk, ask them what they think about something. If they have something they're interested in, ask them for some advice. What would you advise about this if that's an opportunity? Be the kind of person people would enjoy talking with, whether you're selling something or not. I feel like a lot of people, they leave their good humaning skills at the door. Do you remember, before your network marketing business, you used to meet people? What was that?
I was not good at it. I was
You
very
used to say hi to
shy.
people. Like, I'm sure you were capable of saying, hi, my name's Lisa, it's nice to meet you.
Yes, I was able to do that.
Okay. So that's the networking part. It's how many people can you say, hi, my name is Lisa, it's nice to meet you. Find one or two things you have in common. Once you have one or two things in common, it's a lot easier to say, it was so nice to meet you. And then there's a couple different options we can take from there. But you have to be able to say, hi, I'm Lisa, compliment them, one or two things that you have in common, and make nice conversation, whether they're going to buy something or not. That's a skill we need as humans. But if we walk into every situation like, you're a prospect for my business, it's not going to go well, because you're attached to the outcome.
Right.
And they're going to sense that. So the more you're like, I'm talking to you because it's for my job, they're going to have this feeling of, well, what's going on here? But if
I'm just work.
I'm just working. And so we have to separate that. I think what I love about my job is it forces me to be the friendliest version of myself. Things I would normally hide, things I would normally pretend didn't exist, like feelings and stuff like that. My job forces me to grow as a person.
Gotcha.
Right. So if I'm writing a social media post, or if I'm making a video, even our conversation here today, I'm not specifically doing it to sell stuff, right? I'm here with you being the most bold, most friendly version of myself.
Okay.
And you can probably feel that I don't have an agenda on this call.
Right.
Right. And so the fact that I don't have an agenda on the call, how does that make you feel?
Really good.
Relaxed, right? And so
Right.
we need to leave the agenda and understand that the more people I meet, my life is enriched. And also, the nice thing is it happens to be part of my job.
Right.
For me, my personal growth happens to be work. How lucky am I? Right.
Right.
When I sit down and write my yearly goals for next year, it's so nice that my work is forcing me to be a better version of myself, or right. And so I think we look at it that way, even for the shy people. How does that feel for networking?
Sounds really good.
Cool. The next part is in the inviting part. There's a few different options I think that we can do. We have to know what we're inviting people to. So, what are you inviting people to? Where would you make an offer?
Usually I like to offer samples or to test the product, try the product out.
Okay, and how's that working for you?
Most of the time I can get them to say yes, they'll do it, but then it takes me a little bit to get the product to them, figure out what they need, things like that. So I think there's kind of like a problem for me because I'm not I'm not following up like I should.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
following up on samples is more difficult than anyone lets on. So it's not a problem with you. It's actually a pretty difficult sales process,
Right.
right? Because you have to be like, first you have to get an in to be like, do you want a sample? Then they have to use the sample. Then they have to not lose the sample. Then they have to like it's a whole thing.
It,
And
it,
instead, what we want to do is we want to help them on a transformation of going from here to there. So let's see if we can, off the top of my head, write a little bit of wording that might get us a little bit closer. It's easier for me to insert myself into a scenario. So can you give me one scenario in which you met someone, like what was going on?
I have a friend of mine that I went to high school with
Okay.
that I reconnected with on Facebook, and I sent her some samples and we had a Facebook party.
Okay. And so then what, it sounds like you were able to approach her. So
I was, but she hasn't tried the product and that's been over a month. So
because you sent her samples.
right.
So that is a huge thing that happens all the time. So let's say you reconnect with her, right? Because what happens if you send someone samples, then they have to use the sample before you can offer them to buy anything. So everyone is stuck. But we're
Right.
really, remember, the goal is to get them to an appointment,
Okay.
right? A one-on-one conversation where you go over what's important to them when it comes to their skincare, a little about the company, and the most popular packs or kits or whatever. That's the goal. That's going to give you the best everything. So when you meet with someone and you're like, okay, when it comes to your skincare, what's really important to you? You're not saying, hey, you've got a bunch of zits, you need this. You're just saying, hey, you're a human. When it comes to your skincare, what's important to you?
Right.
How do you feel that would be different?
I think that would be a whole lot more different doing it that way.
So this is the goal. So then you're meeting someone. So I'm going to cut us off here before you sent the samples.
Okay.
If our number one goal is to get a sales conversation. Now, if they say no to a conversation, I think you can be like, well, would you be willing to try samples? I think that could be a down sell, but the thing that's best for them and for you is going to be an actual conversation. Now, did this person mention anything about having a skincare challenge or need or interest when you connected with them?
She did say that she has some wrinkles under her eye that she's concerned about.
Okay, so this is an easy one. So then we would say, did you know what I'm doing right now? Is this your full time or is this like part time?
full time.
So career, do you know what I'm doing right now for my career? Right now, I am working with women. What are the main problems that you feel like you solve?
Setting up a skincare regimen.
That's not a problem. That's a
Oh,
solution, right?
solving their skincare needs, their wrinkles, their bags under their eyes.
Right now, I'm working with women to solve whatever skincare needs that are important to them.
Right.
Usually, what I do is set up a time, go over what's important to them when it comes to skincare, a little about the company, and the most popular hacks. My part usually takes, because we're writing this in third person, well, 20 to 30 minutes, whatever's accurate for you.
Okay.
You don't have to get anything, but if you see something you like, I'll help you order it. Is that something you would be open to? How does that feel to you?
That feels good. I mean, that I think that would be a lot easier for me.
You mentioned you're more introverted and shy.
I am, even though I know these people, I can talk all day long about some things, but then there's some things like the getting that conversation started about the business that I'm like, I'm just going to sit over here and not say anything. And
Yeah, so I think what you're looking for is did you know what I'm doing right now for my career? Right now, I'm working with women to solve whatever skincare needs are important to them. Right? You don't, and by pulling it into the third person instead of the first person, it's less pressure. Right? So I could very easily make an adjustment and make this first person or second person, and it would make you feel bad. Right? So let's say so you say, I have wrinkles. Okay, well, what I can do is I can help you with your wrinkles. How does that feel when you receive that? It doesn't feel good. And why not? Even though it's literally what they said.
Right. Because it's I don't know, it's basically telling them, I see your wrinkles.
Yeah, but if they say, well, I have some wrinkles I'm concerned about. Oh my gosh, do you know what I do for my career? Right now I'm working with other women, to solve whatever skincare needs are important to them. Usually what I do is set up a time, blah, blah, blah. My part usually takes about this long. You don't have to get anything, but if you see something you like, I'll help you order it. Is that something you'd be open to? And she's either going to be open to it or she's not going to be open to it.
Right. I think a lot of her problem is that she works like 50 to 60 hours a week, and she just is
It doesn't matter. This is still less time than a trip to Sephora.
That's true.
It doesn't matter. You're putting that on her.
I am.
I was recently doing a training on holiday selling. You can take a screenshot of this if you like. And if you guys are watching this, you can take a screenshot.
I'm trying to figure out how to print screen.
I'll get it for you. I was really doing a holiday selling workshop, and everyone, many people were like, oh, everyone's so busy on the holidays. And I'm like, okay, well, we really think Netflix consumptions go down? No, I think people are still watching Netflix. Does social media consumption go down? Probably not. Also, how long does it take for one human to shop for 5 people? What is your estimate?
It depends on what they're looking for.
But I mean, I think 2 to 3 hours.
Right.
That's why. Yeah, that's why they're busy. But you could offer people a personal shopping appointment, get 5 people off the list in 20 to 30 minutes.
Right.
And you would save them 3 hours. So we have to we have to stop making decisions for other people on reasons why they won't want to speak with us. And I think the reason that we do that is because we're like, what I'm saying isn't exactly right. It doesn't feel good. It's not going to feel good to them. And in what you're telling me is probably what you were saying. I think you're probably right. It probably didn't feel good. And that's why we pursue some of these skills, because now you have something that feels better.
Yes.
So it's not so scary to say it, because if she's like, I'm not really open to that, then you're like, okay, right? I did it. I presented it professionally. I didn't make her feel self-conscious. I asked her if she was open to it. If she says yes, cool. And if she says no, no big deal. And then I can have a conversation with her. And you can change that invitation format however you want based on whatever situations are coming up. If you're having a Facebook party, I recommend that for our clients, we do one event a month so that you have a mix of one-on-ones. Like in this situation, she said, I'm concerned with my wrinkles.
Right.
But not everyone does that. So you're just like, hey, right? And you're just talking to people and they're not bearing their skincare goals. If you have an event once a month, you can always go back to those people and say, hey, I don't know if this is up your alley or not, but I want to include you. Right now, I'm doing a thing. I work with women to XYZ. We're doing this thing. We're going over this, that, and the other thing. Here's how you would participate. Is this something you'd be open to? It's way more chill, but could you see yourself inviting people that way?
Yes.
And so if they don't mention, I don't have wrinkles, but they don't say anything like, oh, I have wrinkles. You don't want to be like, hey, you have wrinkles. You may want to talk. You don't have to do that. You can just say, I'm working with a bunch of other people on common skin issues for them and their family.
Right.
Is this something you would like to be included in? It's really about, I want to make sure you're included, as opposed to you have a problem and I'm your savior.
Right.
Totally different vibe. How does that feel to you, Lisa?
Much, much better.
Okay, cool. I think we start there. Do you have any questions, follow-up questions on what I shared with you today?
No. That
Better?
sounds much better.
Okay, cool. So what would you say would be the biggest takeaway that you got from our conversation?
That I need to be more about when I first meet someone, I just need to introduce myself, kind of get to know what they have to say, or get to know a little bit about them to see if we have anything in common, and then go from there, because I'm making it too much about the product and the sale and not enough about the meeting
people. Mm-hmm. And then you meet less people.
Right. Yeah, because then they're like, she just wants to sell. That's all she wants.
Well, it's not good for your self-esteem either, because then you're like, well, I'm only, right? So you're going to be less active.
Right.
So it's better to just be free and clear and friendly.
Exactly.
Yeah, good. And then you might find some friends, and maybe they're not customers, but that doesn't mean you can't have good relationships with people outside of your customer base. And I think that's how our life gets enriched. Okay, great. Now we just finished up the Customer First Sales Mastermind. And that's the one where we talk about time management, closing sales, recruiting practices. Would you mind sharing just what you thought about that? And what would you say to someone watching that maybe doesn't feel confident in their like the words to say, or in their sales mindset, or anything like that?
The first Customer First has helped me tremendously. I don't know if you remember, but I did use the Customer First sales conversation in a sale, and I actually made the sale. So it was so smooth. It was just easy. I was able to go in and say, this is what this is your problem. These are the products I have to offer. This is the price for the first one. This is the price for the second one. And you choose which one you want to try. And then it was just really smooth. And so I'm extremely glad that I purchased it. I wish I had done it a year and a half ago when I first saw you on Facebook.
Oh, that's how long you've been around, huh?
I've been watching your networking group for a while, and I really, really wish that I had purchased it sooner. But I was definitely glad that the money came at the right time, and I was able to get the class, and I was, yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm really glad that you feel that way because we love working with people just like you.
So, I know you do, and I can tell, and that's what drew me to you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
Oh, who's visiting with us there? Who's that?
This is Chewbacca.
All right, Chewbacca, we're going to end the video now. So let's say bye to our friends who are watching.
Bye. Bye-bye.
All right. If you guys are watching, have a great day. Lisa, thank you so much for your vulnerability and sharing your challenges with our community. I'm sure a lot of people could relate. So thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you.